Hello and welcome to Moving Pictures Kenya. Today I want us to look at the process of how you can come and work in the USA as a nurse. My name is Bonventure and this is Moving Pictures Kenya, connecting people, inspiring Africa.
The US shortage of nurses, it's going to, it is estimated, the Department of Labor estimates that we will be short 1 million nurses in the next 30 years. So, like 1 million nurses, there is no way Kenya is going to fill that.
Yeah. In a world where healthcare knows no borders, nurses travel from all over the world to fulfill their dreams of practicing in the United States of America. Before we proceed, we need to understand the following terminologies that are used in the medical field. There is the caregiver, there is the certified nursing assistant or CNA, there is the licensed practical nurse or LPN, and then there is the registered nurse or RN. Caregivers provide basic care and assistance to individuals who need help with activities of daily living, such as bathing, grooming, and meal preparation. They do not typically have formal medical training and often work in home or long-term care settings.
That is what is called home care aid.
Yes.
No, we don't take home care aids here. No, we don't.
Okay.
And we are short of them, but the immigration department only allows registered nurses and BSN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you cannot, if you are an LPN or certified nurse, or what do they call them?
CNA.
Certificate nurses in Kenya.
Community nurses.
Community nurses. Yeah. No, they are not allowed. They're just registered nurses.
Okay.
And BSN.
Certified nursing assistant or CNA are people who have completed a state-approved training program and passed a competency exam to obtain certification. They provide direct patient care under the supervision of a nurse, such as taking vital signs, assisting with activities of daily living, and observing and reporting any changes in the patient's condition.
So even the nurses I'm bringing, even if they are RNs and BSNs, they should not sit on the road thinking they are qualified. They have to upscale the English, they have to upscale their nursing skills, and they have to upscale their academics so that people can believe them. You understand? And they have to work a little more harder than locals. You understand? You know, most of the time people tend to trust the people they know or the people they relate to more than the people they don't. And so the people they don't need to be a little more qualified than the people they know for them to be trusted the same.
LPNs or licensed practical nurses are people who have completed a one-year nursing program and have passed the National Council Licensure Examination for Practical Nurses, NCLEX PN. They provide basic nursing care such as administering medication, changing dressing, and monitoring patients' health under the supervision of an RN or a physician.
Normally when we hear is the land of the free and the home of the brave, we're only thinking about the bravery, but we are not thinking about why we need to be brave.
Yes.
Okay? We're not thinking about, when we think of free, we're thinking we're free to succeed. We are not thinking that the other side also exists.
Yes.
You see, in the US there's no backstop. If you fail, you are really failing to the bottom. Yeah. Really bottom, right? Yeah. In Kenya, when you fail, you go back to your dad's land somewhere in Muyenga.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here, there's no going back anywhere.
Yeah.
So, although it's a land of flowing milk and honey, but you have to work hard for it.
A registered nurse or RN have completed a nursing program at the associate's or bachelor's degree level and have passed the National Council Licensure Examination for registered nurses. They provide and coordinate patient care, educate patients and their families about various health conditions, and supervise other healthcare staff.
Apart from my mother, what inspired me to joining this career is to helping people and to helping people in a limitless environment. So of course I've been a nurse in Kenya, but there were so many constraints in helping people So I wanted to come here to pursue my nursing in a place where there's enough provision, so that whenever I offer services to a person, I am satisfied I have done the best. There's no limitation. If you need anything to pursue or to make that patient feel good, feel comfortable, you got it. So that's why I pursued nursing beyond Kenya. I did my best in Kenya, but every time I felt some inadequacy because there were so many limitations. I didn't feel like I was adding enough value to the life of my patient. That's why I decided to come here and try it. And so far I'm happy, I'm doing my best, and I think my patients are happy with my work.
Registered nurses can work in a variety of healthcare settings and have more opportunities for specialization and advancement than CNS and LPNs. The journey of becoming a nurse begins with the relevant qualifications. So for a nurse to come and practice nursing in the USA, you must have the relevant qualifications from your home country. This may be a diploma in nursing or a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Taking the case of Kenyan nurses as an example, the acceptable diplomas are Kenya Registered Health Nurse, KRHN, or Kenya Registered Community Health Nurse, KRHCN. Candidates with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing are also accepted.
You have to be a trained nurse.
Yes.
Okay? You have to be licensed
Yes.
in Kenya.
Yes.
And you have to have some experience in practicing nursing.
Okay.
Like a year or two. Okay? Those qualifications now, as a trained, licensed, and experienced nurse. Now, from there, you have now to to send those qualifications to an organization in the US, which compares those qualifications with the US qualification.
Yes.
So that they can authorize you to take the exam.
Yeah.
So that organization we're talking about is called CGFNS.
But the path to becoming an American nurse takes a pivotal turn with the NCLEX RN exam. For a long time, India was the only examination center for Africa, but recently, South Africa was added as an examination center, and more recently, Kenya has also been added as an examination center. The NCLEX RN stands for the National Council Licensure Examination for Registered Nurses. It is a computer adaptive test that is required for nursing graduates to successfully pass to be licensed as a registered nurse in the US and Canada. It basically enables the nurse to transition from being a nurse in their home country into an American nurse.
You must at least be a diploma or a degree nurse in Kenya, that is KCRHN or the BSN. You must have either of that. Then the next thing is to ask yourself, the next step is, do I have enough money to pursue this process individually without an agency, then join the agency at the last part after my NCLEX, or do I need an agency to walk me through the journey? So for most of the nurses, after you have decided you want to come to the US, the next thing is to get an agency. There are so many agencies, they have different requirements in terms of hospitals where you work. Yeah, most of them currently are not taking below a level 5. Most of them are taking the private hospitals, and most of the level 5s and above. So you must be in some level of facility for you to qualify. Then get an agency. So there are so many agencies. For me personally, I use the O'Grady Payton OGP. There's Avant, there's MedPro, there's Interstaff, there's Passport USA. There are a bunch of them. I think there are around over 15 of them that are recruiting for Kenya. So the next thing is for a person to try and see which agency fits me. Personally, I tried around 3 agencies that I never qualified. So I finally qualified for O'Grady Payton, then started my process with them.
When choosing an agency, nurses may find themselves at crossroads because there are 2 types of agencies, the placement agency and the staffing agency.
placement firm is different from a staffing firm. A staffing firm hires nurses directly overseas and comes and leases them to facilities here. And a placement firm helps nurses to transition from being local nurses where they in the source country to being a foreign educated health professional who can practice in the US.
Okay.
And then after that we find facilities where they can work.
Okay.
The difference is that when you are a staffing firm and you hire a nurse, say from Kenya, you want to hire them at the cheapest possible rate.
Okay.
And because now they are your employees and you want to make sure that they come to you cheap because they are a cost.
Yes.
But when you are a placement firm, you are just facilitating the transition and then you work with them to get the best deal possible, because how placement firms are paid, their recruitment and placement firms, they are paid according to the salary that the nurses they recruit are paid.
As the NCLEX journey unfolds, candidates face a crucial decision: to go solo and bear the financial responsibility, or seek support from agencies that pave the way for success. During the NCLEX process, the candidates may decide to use an agency or prepare to sit for the exam as an independent candidate. Sitting for the exam as an independent candidate means that the candidate will be personally responsible for the financial costs and any other requirements necessary to pass the exam. While on the other hand, using an agency is advantageous because an agency will support the candidate financially and in any other way necessary in order to pass the exam. The agency support will end if the candidate fails the exam on the first attempt. The question that many people will be asking is,
yes,
how comes you're in the US, a good debt collector like yourself? How comes you're in the US?
Thank you for asking me this. Now, we came to the US as a family back in 19 May 2021 through a work visa. So my wife has been studying with an agency which brought us here. Yeah.
So you talk of a work visa.
Yes.
Just explain what it means to have a work visa.
Yeah. A work visa is that there are some certain companies in the US, like healthcare companies, if they can't get enough staff in the US, they source outside. So as we got an opportunity with a company called an agency called ONGP, then we sent our documents. That is, we applied, and we did the necessary exams. We passed. Then we started now the immigration process.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you've told me that you are a credit officer or
Yes.
a debt collector.
Yes.
And then you keep on saying that we passed. So does it mean that your wife is also a credit officer?
No, my wife is not a credit officer. My wife is a nurse, and in this case, she's the one who was doing the exams and who had the application with the agency.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so because you are a family and then all of you passed.
Yeah, we passed as a family and we came as a family.
It's more advantageous for the nurses to use a staffing agency because the staffing agency will help them in the immigration process, while for the placement agency, although the nurse may get a good salary deal, they must find their way to the USA. Upon conquering the NCLEX challenge, the journey leads to the Visa Assessment Service. The nurse will submit her application to the Commission on Graduates of Foreign Nursing Schools, CGFNS, for a visa screen certificate. This crucial step ensures that the nurse's qualifications meet US standards. This is a crucial step towards eligibility to embrace a new life in the USA. This is called visa screen. Visa Credentials Assessment Service is a comprehensive screening service for the healthcare professionals seeking an occupational visa to work in the United States. Applicants who successfully complete visa screen receive an official ICHP certificate that satisfies U.S. federal screening requirements. This gives the candidate eligibility to live and work in the USA. Immigration hurdles are surmounted with agency backing as nurses navigate the intricate embassy requirements with a promise of a brighter tomorrow in their new homeland.
There's what we call the I-140, which is the alien worker, like it's more of a permission. The agency is asking for the government for an opportunity to bring this nurse to the US as an alien worker.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you get the I-140, there's the regular, there's the premium. The regular, they pay extra and you get an approval within 14 days. If you're not lucky to get the premium, you can go through regular. It can take around 3 months, sometimes less. Then once that one is qualified, you get a welcome letter. There are a few other things that happen in between, and finally you come to fill the DS-260. At this point, when you're filling the DS-260, you're supposed to have all the documents for your family, the marriage certificates, birth certificates for your children, for your spouse, police clearance for your spouse, then passports for all the members you are carrying with you to the US. Then you're going to fill the DS-260 for each one of them. Once you've filled the DS-260, you wait around 3 to 5 weeks, you become case complete. At this point, when we are saying you are case complete, you are documentarily completed. You have documentarily completed the process to the US. So what you're just doing is sitting down and waiting for an embassy date.
After a successful visa screen, the agency will help the nurse in finding employment opportunities in the USA. They will send the candidate a list of hospitals with vacancies for the nurse to choose from. After successful interviews, the nurse will be offered a job in the USA. This will pave the way for a date with the embassy. In order to successfully navigate through the embassy process, you must be adequately prepared for the process. You must have all the relevant documents required by the embassy. These include the passport, the marriage certificate, the birth certificates, the medical examination reports and documents and certificates, because all these are necessary at the embassy process. The staffing agency will guide and assist the nurse through the immigration process, while the nurse will be responsible for paying the necessary fees, the medical examinations, vaccinations, and any other requirements by the embassy.
I know there may be nurses who are expectant and they fear going to the embassy because there'll be, there's that medical examination where they check for pregnancy. Will you be denied visa because you're pregnant?
Nobody will deny you visa because you're pregnant. If I can give my personal bet is that by the time I was going to the IOM, I was at 1 week pregnant. By the time I was going to the embassy, which was the next week, I was 32 weeks pregnant. And I got I was cleared for IOM. I got a chest x-ray safely. The urine they did was not for pregnancy. They did a urine for, they do for pregnancy and syphilis, I guess. But they cannot deny you from going forward because you're pregnant.
Okay.
One thing I realized with the US embassy, they are not they do not discriminate against pregnancy issues. Your reproductive issues are your personal businesses. They cannot use that one to deter you from proceeding with the process.
Upon successful navigation of the embassy process, the nurse and dependents will be issued with a visa valid for 5 months. This means that they are required to have relocated before the expiry of the 5 months period. Therefore, it's important for the nurse and dependents to have the necessary documents such as passports, birth certificates, marriage certificate, vaccination certificates, among others, in order to successfully navigate the embassy process.
Because of the mention of the x-ray at the medicals, many nurses who are pregnant are like, I cannot take an x-ray when I am pregnant, so I'm going to cancel my embassy date until I give birth. Nobody needs to do that one, because at the medicals, they protect you. There's what we call double shield. So if you're pregnant, They have no worries about you being pregnant. What they do is protecting you. So they give you a double shield, so you take an x-ray and your baby is safe. So no nurse who is pregnant should be worried that I'm going to IOM, they're taking an x-ray. I'll be worried.
With the visa in hand, the relocation journey begins. The agency may pay for the travel costs of the nurse, but dependents must cater for their own travel costs. The journey culminates in a new chapter as nurses and their dependents step foot in the USA, embraced by relocation officers and supportive agencies, easing the transition to a new environment. Depending on the nurse's needs, the agency will help in finding and paying for the nurse's accommodation until the nurse settles down. The agency will also stand in as a guarantor for the nurse to be able to receive essential facilities such as telephone, motor vehicles, among others.
After you have landed to the airport, your entry airport to the state where you're going to, they are going to get, they will have organized an hotel for you, where you picked by the hotel from the airport to the hotel. You sleep there for that night or 2 nights depending on the circumstances. Then there is what we call community liaison officer is going to pick you from the hotel and now take you to your house. Remember, you will have searched for a house earlier before, then identified the house and told the agency, this is the house I want to. Sometimes you might even need to pay for the registration fee yourself. Then the embassy the agency pays for you the deposits and maybe the rent for that month. Sometimes they might even pay for you the rent for 2 months. But this payment is not free. It's a loan they're giving you that they'll be deducting from your pay stubs.
The biggest advantage of using a staffing agency is that they are very good at their game. They have done these applications for many years and they know what is supposed to be done at what level of the application process. For instance, they'll ensure that you apply for the necessary documentation while still in your home country.
The other thing now, after also you have gotten the visa, there is what we call, for some states, not all of them, especially in Pennsylvania here, you have to do a SSN trip where you have to travel to the US, not Pennsylvania to be specific, for your social security number to be activated so that they can start endorsing your license. So for some states, I think there are around 6 states, you will need to travel first, come to the US, land in the US, stay 1 day, then go back to the Kenya. Landing to the US alone activates your social security number. Then go to Kenya and wait until the time you are supposed not to travel with your family. By that time, your social security number will be out and your green card will be out, so you can start processing the license for the nurse license to start working in that state. For all the other states, you don't need that. You just land within the US. The social security number is activated automatically and the green card. There's that yellow envelope that one gets at the embassy once you have done your visa that you're told not to open. You give at the point of entry where you land into the US, you give to the immigration guys there. That once you give them that one, now that one is, most of them, it's almost automatic except for a few cases. They are going to start processing your social security number and your green card. Within 2 weeks, your social security should be out. Sometimes the green card takes a bit longer. It can take 2 weeks to 5 weeks. Then it will also be delivered to your location.
Therefore, within a month of their arrival in the USA, they will be issued with the social security number and the green card, granting them the legal status to live and work in the USA.
For those who have been asking the process of relocating to the USA as a nurse, now I believe you have your answer. Please give this story a like and share with a friend, and also subscribe to this channel and turn on all the notifications so that you do not miss any of my stories whenever I upload. My name is Bonventure and this is Moving Pictures Kenya, connecting people, inspiring Africa.